Hey there folks, Pepper Marine 81 here. As promised, I was going to show you what I did to the 1911 after I was all done. For those of you who hadn't seen any of the videos before on it, this is a Rock Island Armory 1911 tactical version. If you didn't see what it looked like before, it was just factory. It had that flat black Parker color on the whole weapon and just had those ugly sort of plain wood grips that were on there real cheap. So I wanted to completely change everything, do some work to it cosmetically as well as some internal stuff to improve the functionality of it. Kind of dress it up a bit, get it running a little bit better. It really wasn't bad out of the box, but, I figured with a little bit of effort, I could bring it up, considerably with some proper tools and a little bit of my time. So I'll go over exactly what I did there. What you're looking at, I'll start with the cosmetic stuff. The bottom color, the frame, this is done in Duracoat OD Green. Relatively easy to do. I used their spray kit. And as long as you follow the steps and you make sure that you do all your prep work and you don't rush the job, it'll turn out quite nicely for you. I was real pleased with it. This was the first time I'd used Duracoat. And so far, I will say I'm highly impressed. It was remarkably easy to work with. I would say even more so than regular spray paint because of the quality that you get afterwards. It's a very nice, even coating finish. The spray kit makes it really easy to work with, not nearly as hard as you would think with having to use like air compressors and all that kind of jazz. Real easy to do, so I would suggest doing it if you're at least somewhat capable in doing this kind of hands-on projects. It's not going to be that hard for you, especially after you do it once. I'd be completely comfortable doing this again to any other weapon that I have or purchase in the future. The slide and all the controls are done in Duracoat's Parker finish. It's not the actual like Parker finish, it's Parker color, so it's more like a gunmetal gray, as you can see. So I did the slide and I did all the controls in that same color. Turned out pretty nice too. I didn't want to go full black. I wanted something that was just slightly different, so I went with that Parker color. The grips are VZ grips. They're the alien grips. One thing that you need to be aware of is when you're ordering these, Rock Island's ambi grips are unique into themselves. So when you're ordering these, make sure that you are ordering the cut for these ambi controls. The reason being is their ambi controls are different than most in the fact that these don't come out. These come out further on the Rock Island than they do on most of them. And also on most controls, this portion of the lever goes underneath the grip panel, and they don't on this. So the cuts are a little bit different up in here for Rock Island. So you need to make sure that you're ordering appropriately for that. And beyond that, this is their Super Scoop, which I ordered as well, and the beveled cut on the bottom. The reason why I did this was my thumbs are relatively short, so when my hand drops from control down to that, it accesses that a little bit better because my thumb doesn't have to reach over top of that hump. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. But overall, I really like these grips. They're awesome. It really just grabs a hold of your hand really well. And if your hands start to sweat, which mine do after a while of shooting, these will help alleviate that. It's made out of G10. A little on the pricey end, but in my opinion, well worth it. Let me see. That's all cosmetic stuff. Oh, I did get some high-vis. Let me see if I can show you here. Sight paint. I just used the green. It comes with a bunch of different colors. I wanted something to fix that black-on-black sight because if you do go over black, it washes it out real bad. So I wanted to fix that. Cosmetically, that's probably it. Internally, all right, I did a trigger job on it. That would take me a while to explain exactly how you do all that, so that's probably gonna have to wait until another video. There's plenty of videos out on YouTube if you want to search that or Google it or something like that. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. But I did a trigger job on it. I did remove all of the, let's go ahead and get the magazine out. Chip McCormick Power Mags, by the way, pretty good. I put another 300 rounds through this about 3 or 4 days ago. and it did remarkably well. The weapon and the magazines. The barrel, when it first comes to you out of the box, it is all Parkerized, just as, I guess not like this, but the barrel itself is all Parkerized with the exception of the portion that is exposed here. That's buffed out. And then on the feed ramp and the throat of the barrel is also lightly buffed out. They remove some of that Parkerization, which is good because that Parkerization is very porous and has a lot of texture to it. So stuff wants to stick to it and grab a hold of it. So that seemed kind of silly to me. So what I did is I polished, or I moved all the Parkerization off of the barrel, the complete barrel, the whole thing. And I repolished the feed ramp and throat of the barrel, the entire barrel, and the guide rod, the whole guide rod. Polished all that. I polished the rails in the top portion, right here where the bottom of the barrel rides in. I'm not really sure what that called, that little channel inside there. Polished all that out. Took all the Parkerization off that. Polished that as well to this standard. Just to improve the way that it functions, and the part of the rails on the inside of the slide also. After doing that and frog lubing this about 4 times, this sucker is amazing. I mean, it just feels like it's riding on ball bearings. The improvement is pretty drastic. If you have one of these, I would suggest doing that almost immediately, just because of the improvement and just the overall feel and the function of the gun is amazing. So let me see. Polish job, trigger job. What else did we do to it? Well, yeah, the recoil spring, sorry, I had a brain fart there. The recoil spring plug, I polished that as well. I took all the Parkerization off of that because these metal components ride on each other, so I wanted them slick as possible. And then on the bushing, the inside part here where this rubs as well, that's all been deparkerized and polished. So basically what I did, long story short, is any type of metal components that would have any kind of friction on them, I removed all that Parkerization, polished it, and then frog lubed it. So if you can kind of picture that in your mind, that's why everything in this just functions beautifully. Everything's super slick, no hang-ups at all, and even after 300 rounds that I put through it the other day and not stopping to clean anything, it still ran like a freaking dream. I ran a bore stink through it and then reloaded it and put it in my holster and walked out the door. And I wasn't worried at all about, it cooling down and, jamming on me. I had complete faith in it. So there you go, guys. That's kind of a rundown of what I did to it. And if you have any kind of questions, I know I kind of jumped around a little bit there about this whole process or anything that I did, or maybe something that you saw that I missed. Please feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to give you some pointers on it. But as always, thanks for watching, guys. Purple Marine 81 out.